All right, guys, I think we are ready to go. So, hello, everyone, and welcome to today's OET All Star session with Swoosh English. My name's Scott. I'm an OET teacher and managing director of Swoosh English, and I'm looking forward to helping some of you guys out with your OET speaking today. And it's lovely to see everyone. So, first and foremost, I can hear myself. I need to know that you can hear me as well. So regardless of where you are watching today on any of the Swoosh channels or the OET channels, just let me know by sending a comment into the chat box. Just say, yes, Scott, I can hear you, or anything like that, because I don't want to be speaking today. And of course, no one can hear me. So we got a few people who come and actually are commenting already. I'm going to say hello to a few people. We got Mary, Jency, Gassim. We've got Gigi. And we've got Serendipitous. I think I said that right. Welcome to you guys over on the Facebook or the YouTube channel, shall I say. We got Davi, Mara, and Chapman have also said hello too. Then we got a few over on Swoosh as well. We got Judy. Hello, Judy. Welcome to the session today. We have Mary Grace. Good afternoon to you too, Mary Grace. We got Nifu. I said hello, sir. Hello to you too, Nifu. We have Sama has joined us saying hello to everyone. Well, hello to Sama as well. We got Kaseya has joined us. Hello, Kaseya. We have Sylvester is watching from Zambia. Well, welcome, Sylvester from Zambia. Enjoy the session. The session, sorry. And then we have Patience has said, yes, I can hear you, sir. Thank you very much, Patience. So great to know, guys. We're all ready to rock. So I hope that you are looking forward to today's OET speaking session. There's going to be a few mini lessons on a few aspects of OET skills building that you can use for your own OET role play practice. And then I'll get a chance to do some OET role play practice with a student today. But of course, make sure you stay throughout the entire session and until the very end too, as I will be sharing more information about how you can get even more help with your OET exam here with us at Swoosh English. The help does not just end in the session today. So let me just bring up my screen, guys, and we'll get stuck into today's session. Let me just present my screen. Give me a second. All right, here we are. So guys, what is going to happen in today's lesson? Well, first and foremost, we're going to learn and review some of the OET speaking criteria. I can see in the comments that some of you are taking your exam tomorrow. I think a little refresh would be good on this, but anyone else, of course, who is new to their OET prep, make sure you get a great idea about what you are assessed on in the OET exam before you even think about taking it for real. Speaking about those mini lessons, we're going to learn about and how to summarize, recount, and conclude on patient concerns and how to check your understanding of how the patient has onboarded this information that you have given them. There will be a chance to do an OET speaking role play today as well. And even if you don't get a chance to do some OET speaking practice with Swoosh English today, you can still benefit from listening to the feedback and taking on board the student performance criteria on your own OET speaking performance too. Okay, so guys, of course, as I said, today is not the only free sessions that we're doing at Swoosh. We actually run free preparation. I'll try that again. Free preparation masterclasses on a weekly basis. So if you are looking for even more expert tips and advice to pass your exam, ideally the first time or the next time that you are taking it, make sure that you stay until the very end so we can tell you more information about how you can join our free weekly, soon to be daily, OET preparation masterclasses, a free resource from us at Swoosh to you. So stay until the very end to find out more about this. So guys, just a few comments and a few questions before we get started into the session today. But I want to know, what do you plan to do when you pass your OET? This is obviously just a great chance for me to get to know some of you guys in this session today, hear about your aspirations, your challenges, your dreams, your motivations. So let me know briefly in the chat box, guys, wherever you are watching. I can see them all today. What you plan to do when you pass your OET exam. Think about your dream. Where do you want to move? Where do you want to work? What do you imagine your ideal workplace to be like? And how do you think taking the OET exam will help you in doing all of that in your ideal role? So let me know in the chat box, guys, everything about this if you like. We got a few people of saying, of course, heading to the UK. We got Serendipitous wants to move to the UK as a registered nurse. We got some are thinking about the PLAB exam next. Okay, lovely guys. Thank you very much for your comments. More comments. A lot of nurses here looking to move to the UK. Anyone here excited about the recent developments with OET in the USA? Let me know about that in the chat box as well. We got Kumar wants to move as a registered nurse to the UK, and Hussein wants to actually work as a speech pathologist in Australia. That's really, really nice. Of course, not everyone's heading to the UK. There are many countries in the world that we can go to. Okay, so we got Sherilyn has said join the NHS. Lovely. There are plenty of jobs in the NHS, that's for sure. Gail wants to head to the USA. Exciting. Mary wants to work in the UK for professional growth. Well, you'll certainly get that in the UK with the NHS and other private institutions. And Patience wants to use my OET idea work at my place of work as a registered nurse in the UK. Lovely, guys. Thank you so much for some of those comments. And we hope that you, of course, do overcome everything in your OET and PLAB and other preparation journeys that you're going on to. So guys, today's topic is speaking. Can you let me know what is your biggest challenge with OET speaking? So speaking, of course, is probably the most nerve-wracking of all skills because you have to speak to someone. And of course, what happens to us mostly when we're speaking and we're nervous? Well, it affects our speech more than anything else. It's quite a high intensity, high stakes part of the exam. So let me know what your biggest challenge is with OET speaking. You can be as precise as you like. You can talk about your fluency. You can talk about your confidence. You can talk about your grammatical structure. You can talk about your usage of wide-ranging vocabulary. You can talk about your time management. You can talk about asking questions, whatever you like. Let me know in the chat box, what are your challenges with OET speaking? And of course, we want to address some of these today in this session overall. And thanks as well for the comments coming in, talking about your jobs as well. Some more are coming in. We have Racha has said challenging patience. Very good. Zijo has said time management. We got Revar has said nerves. Of course, that's a big thing there too as well. Got a few more coming in. We got a doctor here that said good communication skills. We've got Leona has said need good communication skills as well. I'll take a couple more. Yagesh has said a lot right now. He said nervous, confidence, time management, and even how to start the role play as well. Lovely, guys. Thank you very much for those comments. Okay. Make sure you keep all of your weaknesses at the forefront of your OET practices and abilities, because you need to be aware about what your weaknesses are and have a plan to overcome them. And of course, start to demonstrate the skills that show that you have overcome them as well. So guys, there are two sets of scoring criteria for OET speaking. Who can tell me what are they? There are two sets of scoring criteria for OET speaking. Who can let me know what are they? And I ask this because it's essential that you know what you're being assessed on when it comes to your OET speaking. If you don't know what the criteria is, what the standard and the benchmark you have to fulfill is, then you don't know if you're even speaking the right way to demonstrate those communication skills under the OET speaking criteria. Nifu has got straight off by saying 1 already, linguistic, and Nifu has come in number 2 as well by saying clinical communication. Well done, Nifu. Anyone else? Min Hui Lim has also said linguistic and communication criteria. Lovely, guys. So they are precisely that, linguistic and clinical communication criteria. Lovely, guys. So let's break down the 4 sub-criterion of linguistic criteria. They, of course, include intelligibility, fluency, appropriateness of language, and resources of expression. Intelligibility is your pronunciation, intonation, and accent. So think about how you're speaking, how you're drawing out your sounds, how your pitch is rising and falling, also how your accent might impede the way that you speak. But top tip and a big myth I want to address today: you don't have to speak with a native accent in guys. So just make sure that you minimize any strong accents, neutralize it a bit, but get in if you need to do that. Then we move on to fluency, which is the speed and smoothness of your speech. It's not just about how fast that you speak. In fact, the faster you speak, the less fluent you might be, because you might start tripping up over your words. You might show repetition, etc., etc. So think about maintain throughout by making as few speaking mistakes as I think we're back. I think there might have been a slight internet issue there. I think we're good to go. Hope everyone can hear me and see me. Okay, let's move on now to appropriateness of language, which is your tone and professionalism. Most candidates do really well with that already. Then we have our resources of grammar and expression, which is your grammatical accuracy and your vocabulary choices. So you need to have a suitable range of vocabulary and grammar, but also use it appropriately too. More about that in subsequent lessons. So let's now move on to the clinical communication, which is relationship building, understanding and incorporating, providing structure, information gathering. So relationship building is your ability to build and open a conversation to demonstrate empathy and respect on your listener's comfort. How much can you make a connection with the patient and speaking to you overall? Then we have understanding and incorporating. So how much can you get the patient involved in the conversation? It's really important. It is important, of course, that you command and control the conversation as a whole. So think of ways that you can ask questions to get the patient involved, answer their concerns, but make sure that you are commanding the conversation as a whole. We have providing structure, which is your ability to organize your information into segments and pieces, and also introduce new topics for listeners' understanding. Finally, we have the last two criteria, which are actually linked. They are information gathering and they are information giving. Information gathering is precisely that, getting information from the patients, asking relevant questions. Then we have information giving, back to the patient that they want to hear in a way that is understandable to them, easily processed, and answers their questions. We also want to check on have given them in a way that is easy to understand and makes them happy with the outcome of the conversation. So that's a rough rundown with the criteria. Make sure you know that criteria very well. We spend a lot of time doing that at Swoosh English. Let's now move on to mini lesson number 1. Putting information in your OET role plays. So to start off, let's talk about why these skills are useful. Why should you learn how to summarize, recount, and conclude information in your OET role plays? Well, first of all, this reassures that the patient, that their main concerns have been understood and actionable. They can now take next steps on what has to happen next after this consultation has happened. It allows the patient to clarify anything that may have been misunderstood or missed. Sometimes these things happen. We need to ask more questions to ensure that we understand. And it also helps to provide a conclusion to the role play too, so that we're spending a lot of time getting the patient, the role play started and making them feel comfortable. Well, we also need to do the same thing at the very end. How can we provide a conclusion to the role play? Now, take note, it is not always necessary to summarize at the very end of a role play. It is up to you to decide if you think it is necessary. Depends on the amount of heavy information that has come through in the role play as a whole. So let's have a look at an example of some summarizing sentences. We can say, thank you, Mr. or Mrs. Blank. Let me summarize what we have discussed today. We can say, now let's go over what we have spoken about today to make sure I have got everything correct. We're summarizing everything that we have said and recounting that to the patient. We can also use the inquisitive form, turn it into a question as well. Would you like me to recount everything we have talked about today to ensure I have all the necessary information? Now, of course, these are just examples and templates, but a few ideas and a few keywords here, like summarize, go over, recount, etc. Now, let's put this into a dialogue example as well. Sorry, guys, I appear to be having a few technical problems at the moment. Just give me one moment to see if I can. Okay, guys, sorry for the slight technical problems. Hopefully that will be sorted now. Let's go back into the presentation and we'll see if we can we can get back to where we were. Thank you very much for your patience. Okay, so we're now on to summarizing, concluding, counting. Here is a dialogue example that we can use to put all of this into practice for you and show how we can actually use this in an example dialogue. So, for example, the nurse might say at the very end of the role play, would you like me to recount everything we have talked about today to ensure I have all the necessary information? The patient might say, yes, that would be helpful. Now the recounting happens. Okay, great. So firstly, we discussed the plan for your discharge. I mentioned that your medications will include a list of medications. I then advised some lifestyle changes that will assist you post discharge, which included the information. You asked me about this, and I suggested this. Finally, I will try and arrange for a follow-up as an outpatient form. Is there anything else you would like to add? So the patient has, or the nurse has nice and succinctly outlined via sequencing devices what the information needs to do, and then ended with a follow-up question at the end. The patient might say, no, that sounds great, nurse, thank you. They have been informed, they are clear what has to happen next. Now, we can also use examples of summarizing at the very end of the role play to form a conclusion and a sign off to the very end of the role play. And that's something that's often overlooked by OET patients, OET participants. They are so concerned about beginning the role play that they forget to stop the role play at the very end. So how can we do that? And how can we finalize this role play effectively at the very end? We might ask, is there anything else you would like to ask before we conclude? Is everything clear to you, or would you like me to cover or explain everything again? Are you satisfied with the summary, or would you like to go over anything before we wrap up today? Okay, that's it. I'll go back to that. I thought there was one more. So take a note of some of these question stems here. Look at some of the key verbs that have been used, such as ask, explain, summary, go over, or wrap up. Some even informal phrasal verb synonyms have been used there as well. So keep those in mind, guys. How can we summarize the role play at the very end if we feel like there is a need to? But once again, don't feel like we always have to summarize the role play at the very end. It might not even seem natural. It might not even need to feel like you need to do so as well. Take a note of some of these examples about how we can summarize the role play. So let's now put all of this into a complete summary. So once again, as we said, would you like me to recount everything we have talked about today to ensure I have all the necessary information? The patient said, yes, that would be helpful. And then at the very end of the role play, Sorry, guys, I appear to still be having some technical problems with the stream. Give me a moment to see if I can get this up and running again. Hello, everyone. Apologies for the cutout in the stream there. I hope everyone's still here and everyone is still following. Apologies for any disruptions, and we'll try and continue on with the lesson here. So, as I was saying, we were mentioning and talking about looking at a complete concluding example. So, as I said earlier, here we have the complete example that shows the recounting of the information as part of the role play. And then finally, the nurse says, "No, that's great. Thank you." The nurse then decides to conclude the role play by saying, "No problem. Is there anything else you would like to ask before we conclude?" So, a good way of concluding all of that information and summarizing everything that's happened in the role play, but then finalizing the role play by asking a easy question at the very end, just to really ask for any other questions or any other concerns the patient might have that haven't been addressed in the role play or haven't been addressed as we finish off the role play as a whole. So take a note of that, how we can use summarizing and concluding at the very end to recount essential information. Okay. So sorry for the interruptions with that. Hopefully mini lesson number 2 will go a bit smoother, and that is checking understanding. But take a note in particular scenarios. How can we check for patient understanding? When should we do it? And how should we do it in given scenarios? Okay. So first of all, let's ask the question of when should you check the patient's understanding? When is that important to do so? Well, let's have a look at a few examples. Firstly, we should check the patient's understanding after giving diagnosis. Once you've given your diagnosis, we should ask if that is okay with them. So how can we do that? Well, after giving your diagnosis, you might ask something like this. So after hearing you describe symptoms, you may have type 2 diabetes. We then simply ask, what do you know about type 2 diabetes? So we want to check for their understanding about what we've told them about what they actually have. So an open question such as that might be quite useful. Now, let's have a look at how we came to that inside a role play card itself. As you can see on the right-hand side of the screen, we have a snippet of an OET role play itself. Have a look through that information and see where I found that information to ask that subsequent question. Where did I find the information about type 2 diabetes to ask that subsequent question, aka when we are diagnosing the patient with something that is concerning them in the role play itself. So give everyone a few more seconds practicing your skimming skills and your scanning skills. For OET reading, who said it's not an OET reading lesson today as well, you're learning something new. Okay, cool. So that's that. So as you can see, we've asked this question. So after hearing you describe your symptoms, you may have type 2 diabetes. What do you know about type 2 diabetes? It's here in this section. You've been asked to briefly explain diabetes in a sufficient time and talk about that information. So rather than tell them everything about their diabetes, why not ask them what they already know and then fill in the blanks as you feel sufficient? Helps us summarize the information, helps us create a dialogue. So understanding and incorporating will be incorporated into that part too. And we get them to speak a bit more and take some of the pressure off us, shall we say. Okay, so that's when after giving a diagnosis, we should ask them to check the understanding of that diagnosis. We should also do it after giving a treatment or to give them a treatment advice or a treatment plan, because that is quite long and it is quite technical as well. So after giving the treatment plan or the advice, we can just simply ask them, do you understand why I am prescribing this medication to you? Does referring you to the recommended specialist make sense to you, etc., etc.? So the key point here is just ask them an open question. Is everything understood about the advice and the next steps that I have told you? The patient would tell you if they're okay with it or they might have a concern. Then you would address that in the next part of the OET role play. Finally, when we're also checking for patient's understanding, we've kind of done this already, but at the end of the consultation. And that was the entire focus as well of mini lesson number 1. At the end of a consultation, we should ask them, is everything okay with you? Do you understand everything I've said today? Are you okay with the information I have given you? How do you feel about this? Or any other questions that you have? So you're checking the patient's understanding of the entire consultation, the treatment plan, the diagnosis, next steps. Do that at the very end of the consultation too. Just a reminder, guys, when you should check for patient's understanding: after giving your diagnosis, after giving the treatment plan or advice, and at the end of the consultation as well. Doing that and using the appropriate questions to do so will help you with your gathering and giving information criteria for the clinical communication criteria. So please keep that in mind. Okay, guys, so that's the mini lesson done. So we talked about recounting, summarizing, and concluding, and checking for understanding today. Now we're going to get into the meat of the session, shall we? And that is our OET role play itself. So, of course, any candidates who come on board today who are going to take part in this OET role play, I would love for you, of course, to try and put into practice what we just did in the OET mini lessons today. But of course, it's now your time to shine and to come on board and to have a good bit of fun doing some OET speaking practice today. So this OET speaking practice we're focusing on today is going to be for our nursing candidates. I welcome nursing candidates to come in today, but of course we can help medicine candidates, pharmacy candidates, dietitians, occupational therapists, veterinarians, everyone at Swoosh English as well. This is the demo for what we can actually do today. So here's the role play card. I'm going to put this on the screen fully in a moment, guys. Actually, it's already here, should I say. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a link into the chat box on Facebook and YouTube. That will be your link that will invite you to come into the session today with me and give you a chance to do some OET speaking practice with me today as well. So if you're interested, check out that link, click on that link, come in, make sure, of course, that you have a working microphone. You've got a quiet environment too. Ideally, a good internet connection, better than mine today, hopefully, by the looks of things. And yeah, a camera would be lovely as well. I like actually speaking to someone face to face. So keep all of that in mind. Now, we have 3 minutes to prepare for this OET role play. So I'm going to start a 3-minute timer now. Keep an eye out for the link, guys. It will be here in a moment when that link appears. Click, come on in, and we'll give you a chance to do some OET speaking practice with me now. Good luck. Enjoy the preparation, no matter if you get a chance to do it or not. I look forward to welcoming our OET role play speaker into the session today. See you all very, very soon. Thank you. One more minute, guys. One more minute of preparation before we begin. And 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. All right, guys. Well, that's the preparation time up. Some might say it's quite long. Some might say it's quite short. I reckon it'll probably be on the short end, the preparation time that we have for our OET role play. So thanks a lot for playing along to this point. Let's now get our OET role play speaker on board today. So I'm going to give Min a chance to come in and do some speaking with me. Min, I'm going to be turning on your camera and bring you in now to the session in 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Hello, Min.
Hello. Yeah, let me close my.
That's not a problem. We can't be blinded by the light. I'm in Ireland. We don't get any sunlight, so it's completely fine for me.
Yeah,
Nice to
because it's
meet
raining
you.
outside.
Yeah. Nice to meet you. How are you today?
Good.
That's good to hear. Tell me a bit about yourself. Where are you from? When are you taking the OET exam? And where do you want to move? And where do you want to work?
Yeah. Can call me Mint. I'm from Malaysia. So I'm sitting for OET because I'm looking to do my like overseas training in Australia next year. So yeah, it's my clearance to get an AMC. Yes.
Lovely, lovely. And so you plan to move next year? Is it early next year, middle next year, late next year?
Yeah, middle next year. So
Middle
yeah.
of next year. So have you booked your exam yet?
Yes, I'm sitting my exam in like 2 week time, the 2nd of December.
2 weeks' time. And are you feeling prepared at this point?
Not really, especially the speaking and the listening part.
Speaking and listening. And what do you find is your biggest challenge with speaking?
I think it's like to pause and not to speak too fast, and need to do it like quite spontaneous with the roll card in your hand, because 3 minute preparation definitely is not something that you can really like rehearsal everything. So yeah, it's a bit tricky on the
Mhm.
part.
Yeah, certainly. We can't rote learn for any English language exam, especially for OET. You need to be able to think on the fly and do the role play on the fly. Before we begin this role play, you talked about speaking speed. Don't forget to breathe today. Don't forget
Yes.
to relax as much, because if you're like me, when I'm nervous, I start to speak really quickly. Okay. So use those nerves to your advantage, but just be aware of your speaking speed and keep it nice and steady and nice and a nice steady pace, because that will improve your fluency as a whole. It'll help you even say and predict what you need to say next better as well. Just keep a note of that before we begin.
Okay.
Are you
Yeah.
ready to begin the role play today?
Yeah, I hope so. Yeah, can. Sure.
That's a good answer. I'm going to say yes, you are. Not I hope so, but let's give it your best. And that's what I want to say today, Min, is enjoy this experience as much as you can. You're not being assessed. Try and enjoy it and get as much out of it as you can today. But thanks a lot for joining us today for some OET speaking practice. So here is the role play card. It's back on the screen. Min, whenever you start speaking, I will start the timer for 5 minutes, as we typically do in an OET role play. So it's over to you to begin whenever you feel ready.
Good morning, Mr. Smith.
Oh, hi, nurse.
Yes, I'm Nurse Lin. How are you? How have you been?
I'm not so bad, thanks. Thank you very much for asking, but thanks for seeing me today.
Yeah, I hope you are doing well since our last meet.
Yeah, I'm doing okay, but there's a few questions and concerns I have.
Yeah, maybe you can start telling me how's your how's your things going on at home? How's your wife and you?
Yeah, yeah. I'm finding it quite a balancing struggle, to be honest with you, nurse. I'm balancing being a carer, and I'm also working full time as well because I need to obviously pay the bills. I've tried my best to, of course, care for my wife by buying a fridge and a microwave, for example, so that we can prepare meals and leaving out these meals every day. But I feel like it's just not enough. I feel like the balance isn't really there. I don't want to stop caring for my wife, but I feel like I'm struggling right now.
Yeah, I understand your situation. It's definitely difficult to care for someone who need intense attentions and also long-term care. It must be a lot on your shoulders at the moment.
That's
Yeah.
correct.
So yeah, after I checked back on her condition today, I understand that it probably a bit difficult because your wife has COPD and need to stay at home for a long time. It would be difficult for you to actually to balance between have to able to go out to work. I mean to get an income at the same time stay at home and take care of her. So just want
Mhm.
to like to know more. Can you share with today after I have a look at your wife um I can see that she need a constant monitoring and the assistance that you need to give him is quite intense. Have you consider you and your wife consider any alternative for example maybe a full-time carer or a nursing home?
That's a good question, nurse. I've thought that it might come to this point where it might be a bit more hands-on with and full-time care to take away my burden. Just hoped it wouldn't be so soon, and I don't know what I'm going to do because I feel bad if I can't care for my wife myself.
Mm, I understand your dilemma at this point, but I want to assure you, you have done a lot for your wife, and probably this is a time that we should decide. We should come to a better long term solution for us to decide what is better, and also can balancing between your care and your burden, and also your stress, and to optimize the care that your wife can get at the same time you can balance between your your work, your income, your financial ability. So yeah, so if we are looking for full-time carer and probably it's not some invite hire someone, have you considered any possibility at this moment you can afford to uh to giving up your work again?
Well, I would honestly, nurse, probably go the other direction. We need to make money. So to make money, I obviously need to have time to make money. So I think that giving up work to be a full-time carer is not an option. In fact, it needs to go the other way. At this point, I just don't think that my wife's going to agree to this. I think it might upset her if she were to go into full-time care.
So, how about had you talk about like nursing home? If you
We haven't got to that point yet. I just don't know
yeah
where to begin when looking into nursing homes, which one to choose, to be honest.
yeah would you okay if I explain a little bit on the benefit of nursing home?
Sure, please.
Yeah, nursing home is a place that for patients for that required a long time. I mean, long hours of care. That and high level of care, because the experienced staff at the nursing home that can provide. So it also offer a good relief to the to the next of kin, to feel relief because they are the person that they care, the patients are able to be taken care at the nursing home, and they will feel their care will be optimized, and they don't have to be as in pull back or feel worried when they have to work. And being at the nursing home also allows us to visit, so no worry that uh, as in your wife will be feel very sad being isolated by you.
Okay. Um,
Mm-mm.
would you have any recommendations about local nursing homes, ideally the closest to home as possible?
Yes, definitely. And stress, I definitely understand your concerns because
Mhm.
I can see that you love your wife a lot, and I can give you a list of the local nursing home that was and with the address and contact number that perhaps you and your wife can pay a visit and have a look at all the facility and speak to the staff and speak to the resident there and see and let your wife to feel which one probably the most suitable for her. At the same time, we also wish that your wife care can be optimized, can be better in the can be better in the long run. Do you have any
That's
questions so far?
That sounds great, nurse. What I'll do is I will bring what you said to my wife and I'll explain the scenario and see what she thinks about going into, an ideal local nursing home. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, I believe that you can make a good decision with your wife. Hope to see you again. Yeah, I'll give you the list in a while.
Thank you very much, nurse. Appreciate your time today.
Bye.
And we are done. Well done, Min. How do you feel? How'd that go for you today?
Nervous. I think I bit run out of a sequence of it, so in the middle.
Okay, so I love this whenever I ask how did it go. What do human beings do? We automatically go to the negatives, right? We pick up our flaws and our mistakes. That's very natural. Don't worry. What do you think you did well today? What were you strong at? What are your skills?
Probably I tried to being empathy and share that you are very care for your wife and definitely you don't want your wife to be isolated and so yeah, so to let her think that it's not, don't feel guilty to sending your wife to nursing home.
Yeah. I think you were able to go through the process quite well, despite some of the organizational pieces, but it was quite complete, and you were able to give a good recount about the nursing home part. So well done for that. Let me just go through some feedback with you on a formal basis on your linguistic criteria and your clinical communication criteria. So starting off, were you able to speak clearly and were easy to understand? I think, well, let's start off with your fluency. I think your fluency for the most part is really good, actually. There might have been a couple of false starts, a few ams and ers, but generally you're able to speak quite smoothly and quickly enough to form complete holistic sentences. So well done. I would just recommend that you bring your speaking speed maybe down a little tad and think about your word stress as well. Sometimes you're speaking quite rapidly that every word is like a machine gun. So think about your word stress. Put a bit of stress, as in you obviously draw out the sounds, you say it a bit slower on the important key words like your verbs, your nouns, etc. Think about your word stress. I think that would, even though I think you are easy to understand, that would improve your clarity even more. Speed down a bit, stress on certain words too. Don't forget to pause. I know nerves can cause that when we want to speak quite quickly, but that would improve your clarity and your fluency a bit. Okay. Did you speak with appropriate language and tone? Yeah, perfect. Nice mix of formal language and a nice mix of more layman language when relating to the patient as well. So you were strong with there. And did you use correct vocabulary and grammatical structures here? Yeah, for the most part. I think that your range and accuracy are of a pretty high level. There were a few inconsistencies here and there, but nothing major. I don't really write those down because I'm trying to think of the big things that happen, unless, of course, a candidate really struggles with that. But no, I thought that despite a few inappropriacies and a few inaccuracies, I thought that your grammar and vocabulary was good as a whole. So well done. Linguistic criteria, slow it down, emphasize your word stress, and don't forget to pause sometimes. That'd be my keys. Okay. Now, clinical communication criteria. Did you speak in a way that offered empathy and support? I think when you did demonstrate empathy, it came across as really natural and really supportive. but it probably could have been more consistent throughout the role play. I think you did say it once at the beginning, use an empathetic phrase, and then at the very end, I see that you care for your wife a lot. That's really nice. But we want to see more consistency with empathy throughout the role play. Okay. Did the patient listen to did they listen to the patient and offer effective and appropriate responses? I will say one thing was that you've obviously identified this yourself, was that the role play's organization could have improved. The first thing that you should have said in the role play was, "I've just hello Scott, how are you today? Sorry to hear about your wife. I've just completed my assessment on your wife's COPD. I'm just looking to hear what you think about what the next steps are, and I'll give some recommendations about that." Whereas you said, "I'm going to give the assessment, but that already was done at this point." So think
Okay.
about how we can organize the information at each point into more clear points, okay? Maybe it was the online element, maybe it was something else that distracted you from your organization, but it could have been laid out better as a
Yeah,
whole.
it's quite a problem for me. Yeah, I have done few practice for past few days. Yeah, organization
Okay.
still struggle on that page. Yeah.
Okay, well, check out all the free sessions in the OET All Stars for our free videos, or even think about doing a mini intensive course if you're looking to improve a few
Yeah,
things.
in the Swoosh course actually.
Oh, you
That's
are? Oh,
yeah,
fantastic. Well, that's great to hear. That's great to
yeah,
hear. We do have some lessons, of course, on organization.
yeah.
I'll
I just did once with Elsa yesterday. Yeah.
make sure you. Oh, very good. Elsa loves it when people say, I spoke to Elsa yesterday because she's a great teacher, isn't she?
Yeah. Yes. Yes. Definitely, it's very good.
That's great. So just think a bit more about your organization in your role play too. I know nerves probably threw you off today. This has happened. You're also in front of hundreds of people right now doing an OET speaking practice. Well done
I
for
don't know how
that.
many, so it's okay.
Of course, delivery was good, but the organization could have been a bit better. In addition to that, a couple more small things where I guess your time management. The role play did come in at 6 minutes and 40 seconds, okay, which would have been a bit long. You're not cut off automatically at 5 minutes, but the role play should be around about 5 minutes in length. And make sure that you keep your answers as concise as possible. I did note that if I just go back here to the previous slide, that point one and point two were still being addressed 2 minutes in, when really we've got several bullet points here and we need to organize our time appropriately over that as a whole. Okay. One more thing I'll say that you should do as well is in relation to the lesson that we've done today previously, is think about your checking for understanding throughout. Is this okay for you so far? How do you feel about this? Any questions about this so far? Make sure that you're checking for understanding through processes and procedures throughout. You did do it more towards the end, I think, because you found your confidence and you found your rhythm towards the end, which is good to see that you are applying that in your lessons, but make sure it's more appropriate throughout. Overall, though, final question, was I satisfied with the information as a patient? I would have been. Despite maybe a little bit of confusion at the start, I'm like, oh, well, Nurse Min, she's a great speaker. She cares. She's giving me information. She wants to help me out with this scenario. I was like, yeah, fantastic. Well done. The nurse has given me all I need to know in this scenario for helping out for the care of my wife. So I would have been happy. Okay. So let's recount. What do you want? Let's recount. I'll ask you, Min, what do you need to and what should you be focusing on for the OET test in 2 weeks' time?
Organizations
Mm-hmm.
more consistent throughout, not just on empathy, but I think also checking on understanding. I think,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. And also keep my answer concise, and because if I didn't keep my answer concise, my time management will run away, and
Mm-hmm.
definitely it will influence my, I think, information giving the part, because it become confused. That's why my answer. That's why answer is not concise. Then patients may get confused, and that's when will probably influence my marks on the information giving and yeah, checking part. Yeah.
Yeah, perfect. In addition to that, of course, as well, is your speaking
Stop
speed.
smaller, slow.
Slow it down a little bit. Stress keywords. Don't
Okay.
be afraid to pause. Some candidates are so worried that if they take a pause in natural places that it'll affect their fluency. But pausing is a really important way for us to organize our speech. So think about where is appropriate to pause, aka between certain clauses in a sentence, like I just did now, or at the end of a sentence before we start the next one. It will help you feel more confident too. You know, the more in control that we feel with our speaking, the more confident that we feel, and that will improve everything else that we're doing. So slowing things down can certainly improve our confidence. I know that for a fact.
Sure.
So very welcome. Well done. Good performance today, Min. A lot of things you're doing really, really well. I just want you to be aware of these things ahead of your big OET exam dates in a couple of weeks' time to hopefully get you that score that you need.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you, Scott.
You are very welcome. Any final questions before we finish?
Yeah, it's just because mentioned that we not necessarily that have to finish all the tasks on the task card, but definitely if we didn't finish, we will hang, we will just hang halfway. So I believe that they will influence certain criteria as well. So which criteria that you think that will probably being affected because we didn't finish the task, perhaps didn't because not smooth, or we are too lengthy or too fussy when explaining things.
Well, it's not mandatory for you to finish the role play to get a passing score. It's not mandatory. Obviously, it should be done because it gives you the best chance. And I guess it just depends for the flow of the role play, how much in your 5-minute time approximately do you get to demonstrate the skills that you need? You know, how are you checking for understanding? Are you recounting information? Are you demonstrating empathy consistently and enough to score well? So, of course, if you're missing maybe 2 bullet points on the role play, that might not give you a chance to summarize information, to demonstrate empathy, to check for understanding, to etc., to organize your information. So it's really important. Time management is a really good piece so that you can organize your bullet points in your consultation into approximately a 5-minute block. And as you can see, you need to move between the bullet points fairly quickly to do so. To be aware of that going throughout. So the short answer is I can't say. It depends on the role play, but you might not get a chance to demonstrate fully all of the criteria if you miss some parts in the role play itself.
Yeah. Okay, understand.
Good. All right. Well, thank you so much, Min, today for coming on board. Great work. Thoroughly enjoyed talking to you as well. You've got a great personality and a nice sunny disposition about you as well. So I wish you the best of luck with your OET preparation. Thanks for choosing Swoosh as well. Say hello to Elsa. Make sure you go to her classes. She looks forward to having everyone and helping everyone pass. And yeah, let's do it. Let's get that pass for you. Looking forward to it.
Yeah, thank you.
You're very welcome. Thank you, Min. Have a good day. Take care.
Bye.
All right, guys. And that was Min. I hope that you enjoyed this OET speaking role play practice today. I hope that you enjoyed this OET speaking role play practice today. Let us know in the chat box how you thought Min did. Give Min some words of encouragement and even think about your own OET role play practice today. What have you learnt about using certain concluding, summarizing, and recounting devices, as well as your own practice today in your OET as well? And also, of course, if you've enjoyed this live session today, make sure you like and follow whatever you're watching on today. Follow OET on Facebook or Swoosh English on Facebook and subscribe to the OET or the YouTube channel somewhere around your screen today as well. But I'm looking forward to seeing your comments. I'm looking forward to seeing your ideas. I got a few actually that come in already. Elaine has said that was great. There you go, Min. Enjoy that comment from Elaine. And Hussein has said, well done with your speaking. Lovely, kind words coming everyone's way today. And that's what we love to see at Swoosh English is support, community, and help. So guys, that's the role play done. Make sure, of course, that if you are interested in doing more speaking role plays and getting more expert tips and more free advice for you to pass your OET exam the first time, that you come on board and check out our free OET Masterclasses. We are currently doing free OET preparation masterclasses every week, not just with OET, but inside, in which you get exam preparation strategies and methods. You get tips and activities on all 4 OET skills. Your questions are also answered live by me or another OET teacher who texts these sessions. Plus, there are also other bonuses and surprises as well. If you're interested in that, guys, the link is coming into the chat box now, wherever you are watching. The link is coming into the chat box. Make sure you have a look at that link and you check it out. So guys, if you're looking to get signed up ASAP, I'd recommend it. This is how you do it. How do you join these free OET masterclasses? Well, if you're watching on YouTube, make sure you click show more in the description. So click show more in the description. Then click on the link that says, want more great content? Join our free OET masterclasses. So click on that big blue link that you will see. They might also be in the comments as well. Then also, if you're watching on the official OET channel, the link is there too. Click on description, click on the link that says join more great content at Swoosh English OET Masterclass. If you're watching on Facebook, click the link in the description and also check out the comments. The comments will be here. The comments for the link will also be there as well. So get clicked on that link ASAP. Once you click on that link, you'll be taken to the registration page for this free Swoosh English OET Masterclasses. All you have to do is input your name, input your email, click on that big orange button that says secure your free space, and voila, you will then be in the system to get informed about all of our free classes that we run each week. So just make sure you input your name, your email, and click on that big orange button to secure your free space in our weekly OET masterclasses. Our next masterclass that we're running internally at Swoosh is, believe it or not, today. And believe it or not, it's another OET speaking session. So if you're interested, in 5 hours time, 3 p.m. GMT, make sure you register for our free masterclasses today. Click on that link, get signed up, and I will see you at 3 p.m. GMT today for our next OET Speaking Masterclass. But if you can't attend the class today, don't forget, if you sign up, you'll be informed about when the next classes are, and we're running these weekly. Another tool from us at Swoosh English to help you out with your OET preparation. So guys, first and foremost, thank you so much for coming along today. I hope that you enjoyed this session. I hope that you got lots of great advice and information about your OET preparation today. Congratulations once again to Min for taking part in our OET roleplay. So I wish everyone the best of luck with their OET preparation. If you are looking for some support with us at Swoosh, get signed up to our masterclasses that we have. It'll be a great starting point to see how we can help you and get more of what you've seen today. So good luck, everyone, with your OET prep. Hope you ace it. Hope that you pass. We're rooting for you. I'm Scott from Swoosh English. Pleasure hosting you guys today. And I look forward to seeing you for some more OET All-Star sessions, or even better, inside our OET speaking sessions and other masterclasses. Take care. Have a great day. And thanks for joining.